Mackenzie was driving with no headlights and speeding. And when I say speeding, I mean driving 100 miles per hour and crashing straight into a wall. I'm quickly interrupting the video just to issue an apology to Davion and Davion's family, as I do pronounce his name a few times at the beginning of the video as Davion. And I want to set it straight that it is not Davion, it is Davion. Thank you. Hello, my name is Crystal. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having a great day. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any case recommendations, please leave them down below. Today we'll be discussing Mackenzie Shirilla and the murders of Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan. Mackenzie and Dominic were dating. They were in an on-again, off-again relationship. Friends and family would describe their relationship as toxic. It was filled with lots of arguing. Dominic would often call his mother when the arguments between him and Mackenzie became too much. It's reported that one time Dominic called his friend while they were arguing and Mackenzie was driving. In the background, the friend could hear Mackenzie say, "I'm going to wreck this car right now," which is kind of foreshadowing of the events that are to come. The same friend would arrive to pick Dominic up and would see Mackenzie hitting him with both hands. This event occurred 2 weeks prior to the crash that really is why we're discussing this case today. Now, before I move right into the tragedy, I do want to briefly talk about Davion and Dominic. So, Dominic was 20 years old. He was starting his own clothing line. He produced music, and he was really driven and motivated to succeed. He was described by friends and family as everyone's best friend, and he was extremely selfless. Davion was 19. Davion and his two biological sisters were adopted by a beautiful family. Prior to being adopted, they spent time in foster care. He was adopted at 8 years old, and it really changed his life for the better. He was in a loving home that spoke highly of him. Davion was a natural athlete, really great at any sport that he picked up. He had a bright future ahead of him. He had a dream of going to barber college and opening up his own barber shop. Dominic and Davion's life were cut short. Their lives were taken by Mackenzie. On July 30th, 2022, the three of them went to some parties. They were celebrating Mackenzie and Davion's graduation from high school. They stayed out all night, and then on July 31st, 2022, when they were driving home, around 5:34 a.m., CCTV camera captured Mackenzie's car. We're going to watch that clip now. Mackenzie was driving with no headlights and speeding. And when I say speeding, I mean driving 100 miles per hour and crashing straight into a wall. Approximately 45 minutes after the crash, first responders arrived at the scene. Mackenzie was unconscious. Her foot was still pressed down on the accelerator. And sadly, Dominic and Davion were pronounced dead at the scene. Mackenzie was airlifted to a hospital. She had to go through multiple surgeries. During Mackenzie's hospital stay, she would take lots of pictures and videos, and she would document her whole stay, post it online. And at this point, the truth wasn't out there, so she was gaining followers. People were liking, commenting, they were sympathizing with her. A modeling agency even reached out to her, and she was in contact with them, emailing back and forth. To her, this might be her big break. She went to a concert in a wheelchair, which you can see here. And Mackenzie even took a TikTok that on the screen reads, "I'm just one of those girls that can do a lot of drugs and not die." And get this, for Halloween, she dressed up as a corpse. Seems very inappropriate. Now, Davion's sister saw this online and brought it to her parents' attention, and they went to the police. The police at first thought that this was just an accident, reckless teenage driving, until they had a mechanic expert really look into the car. They wanted to know, was the car tampered with? Maybe the brakes just gave out. But the results came back that the vehicle was completely operational before and during the crash. The pedals, the brakes, everything was working. And conveniently, when the police are trying to interview Mackenzie, she just doesn't remember the crash. There are some people saying it's because she had severe injury, she was in critical condition, maybe she's just blacked out and the trauma just kind of made her mind go blank. And others are saying she intentionally did this. There's no way she forgot what she did to Dominic and Davion. She intentionally held down the accelerator and drove into a wall. Now, it's up for debate if she wanted to kill herself as well, but either way, she took 2 innocent lives. The police are continuing to investigate, and after doing more digging, they start to believe that this was a murder-suicide attempt. They're thinking that because Mackenzie and Dominic were on and off, maybe Dominic was about to break up with her, and maybe that was going to be permanently, and she couldn't handle that. If she couldn't have Dominic, no one could. Mackenzie was in the hospital for a few months, and she was arrested shortly after being released. The police needed to wait until they had enough evidence, and on November 4th, 2022, they felt that they did. They believed they had a strong enough case against Mackenzie. We're going to watch some of the arrest body cam footage now.
Hi, Mackenzie. Step out for me. I'm Detective Jesus. I'm the one who's been investigating the crash. You're under arrest for aggravated murder ×2, okay? Nobody's gonna ask you any questions. Nobody's gonna bother you. Can I have your key, please?
Could you please be careful taking this one off so it doesn't break the bracelet, please?
You got it. You got it. No.
Thank you.
You got it. I'm not gonna tighten these, okay? I don't want to hurt you. You good? Are they good?
I feel like the police are being very nice to her, not trying to break her bracelet, not tightening the cuffs. And in the body cam footage, she's crying and then she locks eyes with the camera. I personally don't feel bad for her. I think she should be held accountable for what she did. In total, she had 15 charges placed against her for the crash. And those include count 1 and 2, aggravated murder, counts 3, 4, 5, and 6, murder, count 7, 8, 9, 10, felonious assault, counts 11 and 12, aggravated vehicular homicide, count 13, trafficking, count 14, drug possession, count 15, possessing criminal tools. She had an additional 3 charges that were relating to a church break-in. During the police investigation, it also came to light that Mackenzie had THC in her system the night of the crash. Mackenzie's bond was set at $500,000, which she never made, so she just remained in custody until her trial. At the time of the accident, Mackenzie was 17, so she was a minor. 2 days later, she would have turned 18, or she did turn 18. The prosecution wanted her to be tried as an adult, which the judge did agree to, and they moved forward with trying her as an adult for the trial. Mackenzie denied a plea deal and ended up pleading not guilty. She did not want a trial by her peers. Mackenzie instead wanted a bench trial, which means that it's up to the judge to decide her fate. The trial began on August 7th, 2023. Mackenzie's lawyer tried saying, this accident was kids being kids, just reckless driving. He mentioned that maybe Dominic grabbed the wheel while she was driving, her speeding and realizing what's about to happen, so turning the steering wheel, trying to avoid the accident. Which I'm like, your client drove into a wall at 100 miles an hour. I don't think she cared about trying to prevent the accident. He also said maybe the acceleration was just sudden panic. And listen, I know it's his job to defend her, but come on. Dominic recorded this video of him and Mackenzie arguing, and it was actually in the same month of the crash. It was at the beginning of the month. In the video, Mackenzie's banging on the door. She's saying that she's going to break the door handle if he doesn't let her in. And I can imagine why he doesn't want to let her in. It sounds like she's very verbally and physically abusive towards him. Mackenzie would do a countdown and say, "You better let me in." And when Dominic wouldn't, she would continue to count down. Then she said, "You're going to come open this door right now or there's going to be an effing problem." Dominic eventually stopped recording after Mackenzie threatened to key his car because he didn't know what to do, so he called his mom for help. Now I'm going to play a small little clip of this video. I'm not including the whole thing, just a brief little snippet.
Help you key my car. I need to break the door.
Your car, you do not let me in the house.
You're gonna key my car.
If you don't let me in the house, yes.
More damning evidence came forward about Mackenzie during the trial. And that's that she actually visited the crash site 3 days prior. And the prosecution believed that she went there to kind of scope out the area. So the prosecution is stating that this is premeditated murder against Dominic. Davion was never her intended target. He just happened to be in the vehicle. And she just didn't care if he died. During the trial, Mackenzie's mother, who, oh my goodness gracious, she is just something else. We're going to watch a statement by her later on, and I don't even know what to say about that woman. But I can say I dislike her. Either way, we'll get to that later. She claimed during the trial that Mackenzie suffers from POTS. Now, I'm not going to try to pronounce this because I'll butcher it, but I'm just going to put it right here. So in Google's definition, it causes dizziness, lightheadedness, and fatigue. And I do like how the judge's response to this, which we'll hear in her sentencing. And again, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to watch some of the victim impact statements. Now, these videos are lengthy. There's one from Davion's mom and Dominic's mom, and then we're going to watch a video by Mackenzie's mother. Normally, I would cut down the victim impact statements, but I actually thought for the purpose of this video that it's good to include them all. And Mackenzie's mother's video is the longest, which is just shocking. First, let's start with Davion's mom.
Your Honor, my name is Jamie Flanagan. I am the mother of the victim, Davion Flanagan. I want to share a small part of what we lost on 7/31/2022. My son, Davion, is and always will be so much more than cargo. He was precious. He was an amazing soul with a heart of gold. He gave to the world what he wanted most in his own life: love. The kind of love that would rescue a friend in the middle of the night, no questions asked. The kind that would protect others and honor them. He made friends easily with his infectious smile. He was a gifted athlete. He had plans to go to barber school and open his own shop. My son did not have a clique of friends, but instead was a friend to all. Davion and my kids have had more than their fair share of heartbreak, of hardship, and of loss. Davion was adopted with his sisters from foster care. They are biological siblings. We are honored to be chosen, or to have been chosen, to be their parents. They're forever family. I am devastated by the loss of Davion. The world lost a truly special man. My girls lost their best friend, their protector, the one and only trusted family that has been by their side from day one. This alone, or he alone, understands the pain and loss that they have gone through and was always there for them. This fact alone breaks my heart for my girls, for my family. So many dreams shattered, a future stolen. We will never get to see the amazing man that he was surely to become. His life was precious. Like I said, he was so much more than cargo. I pray daily for strength and perseverance for myself and for my family. I also pray that Mackenzie will find true remorse in her heart and true repentance. We thank all of those that worked so hard to help us bring justice for our son. We are forever thankful. Davion, we miss you terribly, but as Christians, we grieve with hope. We will make sure your memory lives on, and we ache for the day that we are united again in eternity. Thank you.
The world really lost a beautiful soul. Sounds like he really had a bright future ahead of him. It's a beautifully written impact statement, and that sounds so messed up to say because no one should ever have to write this. Davion sounds like just such an amazing person. We're now going to listen to Dominic's mom's statement.
I'm Christine Russo. I'm Dominic's mother. No one wanted this to be a murder or to punish Mackenzie Shirilla for this accident. But this was not a car accident. The evidence and science proved that Mackenzie Shirilla murdered my son, Dominic, as well as Davion. There's no fix put in this case, as the Shirillas would like to proclaim. I want to thank Strongsville Police Department, and the state of Ohio for seeking the truth behind this crash. Thanks to them, we all know what happened in that car that day. What we don't know is why. I wish I could change this every day. I lost 3 children in that crash. Not a minute goes by each day that I don't think about my son, as well as Davion. My heart is forever broken. The cries heard from the Shirilla family and friends after the verdict are nothing more than a lack of remorse. Mackenzie Shirilla had a choice. Dom and Davion did not. We are all left here to mourn. But what Dominic and Davion lost can never be remedied in any way or by any particular sentence. On July 31st, 2022, I called Mackenzie's mother, hysterical with the loss of my son and Davion. I knew Mackenzie was in the hospital, and the first statement said to me was, "Oh, please don't listen to what everyone's saying on Facebook." Yeah, my son is dead, his friend is dead, and I'm checking on yours. Yet social media is what's important. Social media has made a game out of the life of Mackenzie and is making a game out of this heart-wrenching tragedy. No one can imagine the pain of losing a child unless they have lost one themselves. The pain is forevermore. Time does not heal this wound. Mackenzie, going to prison because you did this. Be thankful that you're still alive and have a future, whatever that may be. Dom and Davion were robbed of their futures, their hopes, and their dreams. Mackenzie showed no mercy on Dominic, nor did she on Davion. Only God at this time can have mercy on her soul. Thank you.
I like that she called out Mackenzie's family, and as she did so, you could see Mackenzie look what she's looking towards her own family. And Dominic's mom is saying she didn't just lose her son. She lost 3 children that morning. And it's true, no one will ever understand her pain unless they themselves have lost a child. And I don't know about you, but to me it's crazy that she just lost her child and she still calls Mackenzie's mom to check in, even though she knew that Mackenzie was driving. So that means she was never holding blame against her. She was checking in because she cared. But as you'll learn, it seems that Mackenzie's family is more about how they're perceived outwardly to the world. And we're going to watch a video by her mom now, and she's something else. Her statement is longer than anyone's, of course. And I really wanted to cut it down, but I think it's so important to watch because you really understand the house that Mackenzie grew up in. That does not make her actions okay. You can tell that Mackenzie is a brat. She's entitled. And you can kind of see where she gets it from. There's no accountability, no remorse. I feel like everything's just a show. It's an act. Let's watch now.
My name is Mackenzie Shirilla. I just want to say, am I allowed to address them at all?
Sure.
I just want to say to the families that I'm broken, sad, and lost, and my heart hurts for everyone, okay? Davion was her new friend, and Dom was the love of her life, and he was part of our family, okay? I'm just so sorry that this happened, and we're heartbroken, okay? And then, Your Honor, this was a terrible, tragic nightmare accident to have happened that she has no memory of, and she will never emotionally or physically recover from it. She almost died too, and we're asking that you please not run the sentences consecutive. He was family, and we all loved each other. That morning of the accident, she called. I got a phone call that there was a car accident. Okay, so we went to the hospital, and I didn't even know who was in the car. The names had not been confirmed yet, and I'm gonna cry because I missed Dom so much. We loved him so much. So I called Dom, like over and over again, praying that he was going to answer the phone, and he didn't answer the phone. So then I tried to call his mom, and she didn't answer the phone either. And I still didn't know who was in the car. I didn't even know if she was alive. I didn't know what was happening. So then we were in the waiting room, and then his mom she did call me, so I answered the phone, and I was like, oh my God, like, I don't even know who was in the car, like, what's happening, was that Dom? And she said, what do you mean, my son is dead? And I was like, I'm so sorry. And then she said something like, and now I have to wait until your kid's out of the hospital, and then I didn't hear the rest. I was like, we loved him so much, and I hung up the phone. I did not talk about social media. I didn't even know what was going on yet, okay? So then, that was it. So in the hospital, that Vitality post, I commented on that because somebody had called her a murderer, okay? And she's not a murderer, so she didn't even have her phone at that point because the police had still had it, okay? So I jumped on, and I was like, you know, she's not a murderer. She's more sad than most of these people commenting. She's been trying to get in touch with you. I mean, at that point, it was just an accident. So I commented on her behalf, not because of the modeling opportunity. Who cares about that? I don't want them to refer to her as a murderer, okay? And I don't even know how that commented got on the phone because the police still had her device, and she could not access her phone or social media. That's why I did it. And I had called them asking if they could shut down social media because people were calling her a murderer and making death threats and organizing groups to, you know, take her out when she got out of the hospital and stuff. So I didn't even want her phone. I don't care about her phone. I don't care about social media. I just wanted them to stop calling her a murderer so that when she did come to, and she did come out of surgery, multiple surgeries, that she wouldn't see all these people calling her a murderer because she would never, ever, ever murder the love of her life. Okay? For Halloween, for 3 months after the accident, she would only wear his clothes. She would only eat the snacks he ate. She would only listen to the music he wrote, okay? She was laying in bed for 3 months crying. There was a shrine of him next to her with photos and things that he liked and this flower that lights up that he got her because he wanted it to be fresh and alive forever. It's like a little Beauty and the Beast flower. Okay, she's got this shrine of him next to her. So she was crying for 3 months. So her friends asked if she wanted to go out trick-or-treating or Halloween, and it was at OU. And she didn't even want to go. She said, I don't know, should I go? She couldn't even walk yet, barely. So I told her, I said, baby, please go. It's Halloween. You've been laying for 3 months crying, only listening to his music. Please go. Have just a moment of fun. A moment of fun. So we told her to go. My husband drove her. I brought her back home. She just needed a second of fun from losing her whole world. Her whole world. So that was us. We told her to go. And that concert she went to with Dom's cousin, Abby, they picked her up. They brought her there. That was Dom, Mackenzie and Dom and Abby all decided to go to this concert together while they were in the hospital. That was for Dom. Everything she did after the accident was either in honor of him, to be close to him, or just to be by him any way that she can. She's like devastated and tragic. He was the air that she breathes, okay? And they went with his cousin. We spent all kinds of time with him after the accident. What was the other thing?
I'm hearing an awful lot about your daughter. I'm not hearing very much about the two dead people.
Dominic, okay, I'm asking you for leniency because this was a tragic accident that she does not remember. And Davion, he's a new friend. And I'm so sorry.
What does that mean? His life is worthless?
No. God, no, not at all. They all loved each other. They all spent every day together. You know what I mean? I don't know
and
too much for him.
Isn't that part of the problem, Mrs. Shirilla?
Sorry?
Isn't that part of the problem, that they all trusted each other? Isn't that part of...
It's not a problem at all. It was wonderful.
It's a problem how they all ended up in the car together and two of them ended up dead.
I understand. I understand what it looks like. I'm saying that it was a tragic accident. She would never.
But we're going to have to disagree on that.
I understand.
Right. And I respect your position, but you disagree with me.
I understand. But anyway, that's it. I just wanted to address those. We told her to go to those things, and then she did go with Dom's family. So look at that. Don't look at it with the look on that with different eyes if you can, please.
Those things are not relevant.
Not at all. Not at all.
No.
Not at all. But she's a good. If you would have a moment, all you would need is 5 minutes of a conversation to have with her to learn who she is. Just that you would just need 5 minutes to learn who she is and what she's capable of not doing and doing, and you would see for yourself.
Thank
That's all. I'm so sorry, guys.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Do you see what I mean? She literally went up there just with point, excuse. Oh no, this is me and my husband's fault. Your child needs to take accountability. You need to understand that she's responsible for this. If you would just spend 5 minutes with her, shut up. Oh, she's just so frustrating. And I love that the judge called her out. Like, this is not what these statements are about. She literally showed no sympathy for the fact that 2 people are dead. So good on the judge, because otherwise I think she would have just continued to ramble about nothing. Her daughter does not deserve leniency in my mind. In my opinion, give her the harshest sentence. And I mean, I would send her to jail too. Just send the parents to jail too. It just pissed me off. Sorry. So now we're going to hear what Mackenzie has to say. And it is brief. Very, very brief. But this is her statement.
The families of Dom and Davion, I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken. I love Dom and Davion. We were all friends and Dom was my soulmate. I wish I could take all your pain away. And I'm so sorry. And to my family, thank you for the support and all the love you guys give. Thank you for fighting with me. I love you all so much. All right, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Crocodile tears? Maybe. I don't know. It doesn't seem genuine. Now, I've seen some, statements at court or trial where it really feels like they have remorse for what they did. And I just don't get that from Mackenzie. And I wonder if she'll ever show that remorse, if she'll ever admit to doing what she did. The only people that think that she's not guilty is her mom, dad, and her. So now what you've been waiting for, the verdict from the judge. Which I have to, warn that the verdict and sentencing, again, are lengthy, and I apologize, but I just thought that we really needed to hear the whole thing. So let's get into the verdict now.
In a bench trial, the judge sits as the jury and the finder of fact, as well as the ruler of law. And it is a reminder of just how difficult a job it is to serve as a finder of fact. Whether it's a bench trial or a jury trial, the rules of law are the same. The instructions for weighing credibility and evidence, the admonition to set aside any bias, prejudice or sympathy, and the oath to follow the law as the law is written. These rules of law are incumbent on every trier of fact. I have done what I am sworn to do. I have carefully and deliberately considered all the evidence in this case, including the testimony of the witnesses, the science, the expert opinions offered, the medical evidence, the physical evidence, the photographs, and the video evidence. There is nothing that I can do or say today that will return these 2 young men to their families. There is nothing I can say or do that will restore Mackenzie Shirilla to the life she had before July 31st, 2022. And there is nothing that I can say or do to restore the lives of these 3 families before the fateful moments on that day. This trial is a culmination of decisions made by one person, the defendant. Those decisions have forever altered the futures of 3 families, and of you also, Mackenzie. And your decisions forever robbed Dominic and Davion of the futures that they had before now. If there is one thing that can be taken away from this case, as painful as it is this. Every decision we make is important. Every action we make is important. Regardless of whether the decision is a good one or a bad one, or the actions are good or not, the result is the same. The consequences ripple through time and affect many more people than one might think at the time of the decision. In criminal cases, the state carries the greatest burden under our law, proof beyond a reasonable doubt. As I previously stated, I considered all the evidence presented. And at this point, I would like to comment specifically on Exhibit 802, the crash video. This is the type of evidence you can never unsee. You can never forget the visual or audio of this exhibit. It is chilling and tragic. As you review that exhibit, you know that you are watching the oncoming deaths of 2 people, and there is nothing that will stop it. The video clearly shows the purpose and intent of the defendant. She chose a course of death and destruction that day. Exhibit 802 crystallizes the deadly decision-making of the defendant. She morphs from a responsible driver to literal hell on wheels as she makes her way down the street. Mackenzie alone made the decision to drive the car, to drive an obscure route, a route she visited a few days before, and a route not routinely taken by her. Mackenzie alone chose the time to make the drive, early in the morning, when any reasonable person would expect that few people would be nearby to witness it or offer life-saving assistance. She made these decisions despite knowing, as any reasonable person would, that her mission of death could have involved others, not even in the car with her, other people, other cars, pedestrians. She had a mission, and she executed it with precision. The mission was death. Mackenzie alone decided to push the pedal to the floor and demand the ultimate speed of that vehicle to 90 to 100 miles per hour. She alone decided what was to be. Mackenzie decided death was the ultimate goal that day, and she alone made that decision for Dominic and Davion, and she continuously acted in a manner to achieve her purpose. Whether or not she intended to also kill herself is a matter of speculation. They have no relevance to the weighing of the evidence in this case. The totality of the evidence clearly demonstrates that Mackenzie Shirilla acted purposely and intentionally in the early morning hours of July 31st, 2022, and her purpose was to kill Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan. No reasonable fact finder could view the totality of this evidence in this case and come to any other conclusion. Her actions were controlled, methodical, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful. This was not reckless driving. This was murder. Court renders the following verdicts. Count 1. The court, having had count 1 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.02a, is charged in count 1. Count 2. The court, having had count 2 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder, to wit Davion Flanagan.
While the judge is reading the verdict, you can really see a shift in Mackenzie. And that's because the wording that the judge uses, it's obvious that she's going to be found guilty. And the judge saying that you went from a normal driver to hell on wheels is very accurate. And she deserves prison. She deserves to be there for a long time. Let's now watch the sentencing.
Today is the sentencing of the defendant for the purposeful and intentional murders of Davion Flanagan and Dominic Russo. And in a way, it's the second time their families are gathered again to grieve. It's also a day when Mackenzie's family will grieve for the future of their daughter. All 3 of these families and the friends of these families are suffering, and all of their lives have been irrevocably changed because of the actions of the defendant. The unintended and collateral consequences of a selfish, intentional, and cruel decision by Mackenzie will ripple forever in time. It's literally changed history because it's ended 2 lives. 2 young men are dead. Their deaths were horrible, terrifying, and tragic. I will say again, if any reasonable person reviews Exhibit 802, there can be no doubt in your mind what happened this night. There can be no doubt of the absolute terror of the 2 people in that car. The defendant controlled all the events. She chose the day. Specifically, she chose a day just before her 18th birthday. She chose to drive the car, the time to drive the car. She chose an obscure, previously scouted route through an industrial parkway. She chose the target to hit and the victims. She chose the means and the method to follow through. And she planned and purposefully executed the events of July 31st, 2022. The review of the evidence supports the factual findings the forensic testimony, the testimony of the first responders, the testimony of the emergency room doctors who treated the defendant, the testimony of the coroner's medical examiner, the testimony of those who knew the victims and the defendant, and the testimony of the BMV official who provided evidence that not only did the defendant deny any medical condition when applying for her license, which her mother co-signed and attested to, but also that just after the accident, Mackenzie renewed her driver's license and again denied any medical condition. In fact, the defendant was so concerned about driving that, as the state mentioned, during the investigation, she asked if they could just suspend her license for 10 years. It is hard to fathom how a person could be concerned about their driving privileges, having just been responsible for the deaths of 2 people. There was no medical condition that caused this as an accident. There was no mechanical failure of the car. The record is clear on the facts and the evidence. Her mother's uncorroborated statements without any medical testimony or records is not persuasive. It is also important to remember that even if Mackenzie intended to also die in this crash, that is irrelevant. A failed suicide attempt is not a defense to murder. And even in a murder-suicide attempt, when the perpetrator executing the plan survives, the other death or deaths are still murder. There's only one person who's responsible for the pain of everyone in this room, and that person is you, Mackenzie. Nobody else is responsible. This isn't the fault of Dominic's family, or Davion's family, or your family. And I know that each of you have asked your questions to yourselves, what if? What if I had done this or that? The truth of it is, none of us can control the intentions of another. And when there is a purposeful intent to harm or kill someone, it is the perpetrator alone who bears the responsibility for the choice and the consequences and the harm that follows. The difficulty for sentencing today, honestly, is whether or not I believe you should get consecutive sentences. I'm troubled that should I give you a concurrent sentence, that people will believe that somehow I'm being disrespectful to one of the victims. And on the other hand, I have to weigh the punishment. There's a very good likelihood, Mackenzie, that you will spend the rest of your life in prison. That won't be up to me. That will be up to the parole board, and that will be up to you to a great extent. I understand that the pain in this room wants me to impose the harshest sentence, but I don't believe that would be the appropriate sentence, because I do believe that Mackenzie will not be out in 15 years. So she's sentenced on count 2, the murder of Davion Flanagan, 15 years to life. She's sentenced on count 1, the murder of Dominic Russo, 15 years to life, to be served concurrent to each other with credit for time served.
I would like to know your opinion on the sentencing. If I was one of the victim's family members, I wouldn't be happy, because if she was out in 15 years, I would be pissed. She deserves to spend longer in prison. I believe she deserves to spend the rest of her life in prison. I would love to know what your opinion is. After I finished preparing for this video, I was, relaxing, listening to some podcasts on YouTube. A video popped up. And this video is Mackenzie's parents talking to a reporter. So we're going to watch that. And that's from this year, like 2025.
How can I feel bad that these 2 boys died and feel grief with these families and then be absolutely overjoyed that my kid is alive? Show me one piece of evidence, one, that says she did this on purpose. Show it to me. Here it is. That's it. Then she's right where she belongs, and she's guilty of it. But there isn't any. There's no evidence what was going on in that car other than the information they gleaned from the black box information.
These poor families think she did it intentionally, and she didn't. And and they don't know. There's information they didn't see. There's information they didn't have. There's information we didn't see or have.
Should she be in prison for murder?
No, absolutely not.
Should she be in prison for aggravated vehicular homicide?
I don't know about the aggravated part, because I don't think you can still say why was going on the car. Should she have been charged with reckless vehicular homicide, 2 counts?
I don't even...
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not if it was medical.
And then the start of it, when they're saying, how can they feel guilty when they're happy their daughter is alive? You can still feel bad. Like, I can see how these two humans produced Mackenzie. It's just disgusting. Like, I don't like to use the hate word, but like, this family is just making me feel that strongly. To them, their daughter does no wrong, you know? She probably never did any wrong in her life. And even when the evidence is in front of you that she took the life of Dominic and Davion, they're blind. People say Mackenzie wanted fame, and I think that's what she got. It's just not in the way that she wanted. But she's where she deserves to be. She's where she needs to be. And I hope that her parents really, grow up. That's the best way I can put it, is grow up. I wish Davion and Dominic's family the best. I hope one day Mackenzie admits to what she did so that they can heal. Or heal as much as you possibly can through something as traumatic as this. That's all I have for you today. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for joining me. Bye.